Commander Jake Harrison wiped sweat from his forehead as he stared at the scanner display. The numbers made no sense. After 15 years of salvage work in deep space, he thought he had seen everything. But this energy reading was different. It was human technology, but older than anything in the databases. "Lisa, bring us closer to that asteroid cluster," Jake called to his pilot. Lisa Martinez had been flying ships since she was 16. Her steady hands could navigate through the tightest debris fields without scratching the paint. "You sure about this, Commander?" Lisa asked, adjusting their course. "The regulations say we're not supposed to go deep into the Kepler sector. Too many unknowns out here." Jake looked around the bridge of the scavenger's dream. It was not much to look at. The ship was old, patched in a dozen places and held together by hope and duct tape. But it was home to his small crew, and it kept them fed. Danny Brooks looked up from his engineering station. The young man had joined the crew only 6 months ago, but he knew more about ship systems than anyone Jake had ever met. "The energy signature is definitely human origin," Danny said. "But the pattern is weird. It's like nothing I've studied in tech school." Amy Foster turned from her communications console. She was the newest member of the crew, barely 22 years old. But she had a gift for finding signals that others missed. "I'm picking up something else," she said quietly. "There's a transmission coming from the same location. It's very faint, but it's broadcasting on old military frequencies." Jake felt his pulse quicken. Military frequencies from the Kepler sector meant only one thing. Something from the old days was out there. Something from before humanity had been forced to retreat to the inner systems. "What kind of transmission?" Jake asked. Amy adjusted her equipment, frowning in concentration. "It's automated. A distress beacon, I think. But the format is ancient. This signal has been broadcasting for decades, maybe longer." The Kepler sector had been abandoned for over 150 years. When humanity first reached for the stars, this region had been full of colonies and research stations. Then came the wars with alien species who did not want humans expanding through their territory. Humanity had been forced to pull back, abandoning entire star systems to save what they could. But salvage teams like Jake's still worked the outer edges, looking for valuable technology and materials left behind. It was dangerous work, but it paid well. Most of the time, they found nothing but scrap metal and empty stations. "Take us in slow," Jake ordered. "Danny, keep scanning. I want to know everything about that energy source before we get too close." Lisa guided the ship through the asteroid field with practiced skill. The rocks were massive here, some larger than space stations. Perfect places to hide things that were not supposed to be found. "Commander," Danny called out, his voice tight with excitement, "you need to see this. The largest asteroid ahead of us, it's not entirely natural. There are metal structures under the surface, and the energy source is coming from inside it." Jake moved to Danny's station and looked at the detailed scans. The asteroid was huge, easily 5 kilometers across. But the scanner showed hollow spaces inside, arranged in patterns that could only be artificial. "That's not an asteroid," Jake said slowly. "That's camouflage." Amy's console started beeping rapidly. "Commander, the transmission just changed. It's responding to our presence. Someone or something knows we're here." Jake's mind raced. This was exactly the kind of discovery that could make his crew rich beyond their dreams. But it was also the kind of discovery that could get them all killed. The outer sectors were dangerous places, full of things that governments preferred to stay hidden. "Lisa, can you get us close enough to dock?" Jake asked. "If it's really a ship under there, it should have airlocks," Lisa replied. "But we'll have to find them first." Danny's fingers flew over his controls. "I'm detecting what looks like an entry port on the lower section. It's sealed, but the power readings suggest the systems are still active." Jake made his decision. Take. US in. Amy, keep monitoring all frequencies. If anyone else shows up, I want to know about it immediately. As the scavenger's dream approached the disguised object, more details became clear. What they had thought was rock was actually sophisticated plating designed to look like asteroid surface. Underneath, the scanner revealed the outline of a ship, larger than any vessel in the current human fleet. My God, Danny whispered, this thing is huge. 3 kilometers long at least. What did they build out here? Amy suddenly sat up straight at her station. Commander, I'm picking up new signals. Long-range sensors show ships approaching the sector. They're not human. Jake felt ice form in his stomach. How long until they get here? At their current. Speed, maybe 6 hours? Amy replied. The signatures look like Dominion Empire vessels. Big ones. The Dominion Empire controlled most of the galaxy. They tolerated human presence in a handful of systems, but they did not allow humans to explore. The abandoned sectors. If Dominion ships were coming, it meant someone had reported their presence. We need to move fast, Jake decided. Lisa, get us docked. Danny, start working on getting that airlock open. Amy, keep watching those ships. As Lisa maneuvered the salvage ship toward the hidden docking port, Jake wondered what they were about to find. The ship had been hidden here for over a century, powered and waiting. Someone had gone to great trouble to keep it secret. The docking clamps engaged with a solid thunk that echoed through the scavenger's dream. Danny connected his portable systems to the airlock controls and began working to establish a connection. I'm getting responses from their systems, Danny reported. This ship is definitely still active. There's an artificial intelligence of some kind trying to communicate with us. Jake grabbed his sidearm and emergency kit. Amy, you stay here and monitor communications. Lisa, Danny, you're with me. Let's see what humanity left behind in the dark. As the airlock cycled open, Jake had no idea that they were about to discover something that would change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. The airlock opened with a soft hiss, revealing a corridor that looked nothing like the old salvage ships Jake was used to. The walls were smooth and clean, made from some kind of metal that seemed to glow with its own light. The air smelled fresh, as if the life support systems had been running perfectly for years. Jake stepped through first, his hand resting on his weapon. Danny followed close behind, carrying his scanner and toolkit. The corridor stretched ahead of them, wider than any ship passage Jake had ever seen. Emergency lights flickered on as they walked, sensing their movement. This place is incredible, Danny whispered. The technology here is way beyond anything we have now. Look at these walls. I can't even tell what they're made of. They walked for several minutes through empty corridors. Everything was clean and perfectly maintained. Jake expected to find signs of age or damage, but the ship looked like it had been built yesterday. Their footsteps echoed in the silence. Suddenly, the lights in the corridor brightened, and a voice spoke from hidden speakers. The voice was calm and clearly artificial, but somehow seemed more human than most computer voices Jake had heard. Welcome. Aboard the USS Defiance. I am Atlas, the ship's artificial intelligence. Please identify yourselves. Jake looked at Danny, who shrugged. This is Commander Jake Harrison of the salvage vessel Scavenger's Dream. Who built this ship? The USS Defiance was constructed under Project Blackout, a classified human military program. Construction was completed in the year 2187. I have been waiting for human contact for 200 years. Danny nearly dropped his scanner. 200 years? The ship has been sitting here for 2 centuries? Correct. The ship was placed in standby mode after the crew entered suspended animation. I have maintained all systems during this period. Would you like me to begin awakening the crew? Jake felt his heart race. There are people alive on this ship? 40 crew members are currently in suspended animation in the medical bay. They can be safely awakened within 1 hour. However, I must warn you that Dominion Empire vessels are approaching this sector. My sensors detect 12 battlecruisers, approximately 5 hours away. Jake's radio crackled. Amy's voice came through clearly. Commander, those Dominion ships are moving faster now. I think they know we're here. We hear you, Amy. Keep monitoring, Jake replied. He turned back to the empty corridor. Atlas, what was Project Blackout? Project Blackout was humanity's response to growing alien aggression in the outer sectors. Dr. Helen Crawford designed this vessel to serve as the ultimate deterrent against hostile alien forces. The project was classified above top secret due to the dangerous nature of the ship's capabilities. Danny was studying his scanner readings with wide eyes. Commander, the energy output from this ship is impossible. According to these readings, their engines could power an entire city. And I'm detecting weapon systems that I can't even begin to understand. Atlas continued speaking. The Defiance utilizes several advanced technologies. Our engines manipulate space-time itself, allowing instantaneous travel across vast distances. Our weapons can destabilize stellar matter or create localized gravitational anomalies. Our defensive systems can phase the ship partially out of normal space. Jake tried to process what he was hearing. That's impossible. No one has technology like that. Human science in the late 22nd century was more advanced than current records indicate. However, the decision was made to hide these capabilities and allow humanity to appear weak to avoid a galactic war. What do you mean, appear weak? Jake asked. Humanity's retreat from the outer sectors was not a defeat. It was a strategic withdrawal. Intelligence reports indicated that multiple alien species were planning to unite against humanity due to fear of human technological advancement. Rather than fight a war against the entire galaxy, human leadership chose to appear defeated while secretly developing decisive advantages. Danny looked up from his scanner. This is incredible. You're saying humanity has been pretending to be weak for 150 years? Correct. The plan was to remain hidden until humanity could guarantee victory in any conflict. The awakening of this ship suggests that time has come. Jake's radio crackled again. Commander, you need to get back here now. Those Dominion ships just sent a message. They're demanding we surrender immediately. Jake looked at Danny. We need to see this crew. Atlas, start waking them up. How long will it take? The revival process is already beginning. Captain Roy, Mitchell and his senior officers will be conscious within 30 minutes. The full crew will be awake within the hour. They followed a TLAS's directions through the ship to the medical bay. The room was huge, filled with 40 sleeping chambers arranged in neat rows. Each chamber contained a person, perfectly preserved, as if they had gone to sleep yesterday. Jake watched in amazement as the first chamber began to open. Steam hissed out as the seal broke. Inside, a man in his 50s opened his eyes slowly. He was wearing a military uniform, unlike any Jake had. The man sat up carefully, looking around with confusion. Atlas, status report. Captain Mitchell, the current date is June 25th, 2387. We have been in standby mode for 200 years. The ship has been discovered by human salvage workers. Dominion Empire forces are approaching. Captain Mitchell swung his legs out of the chamber and stood up. Despite sleeping for 2 centuries, he looked strong and alert. 200 years? What's the current status of human space? Jake stepped forward. Captain, I'm Commander Jake Harrison. Humanity controls about 12 star systems in the inner sectors. The Dominion Empire controls everything else. They keep us confined to our home region. Captain Mitchell's face grew. Hard? Confined? By whose authority? They have bigger fleets, better weapons. We don't have the technology to fight them. Captain Mitchell smiled grimly. Commander Harrison, humanity has never lacked the technology to fight. We've simply been waiting for the right moment. He turned to Atlas. What's our tactical situation? 12. Dominion battlecruisers will arrive in 4 hours. They are demanding surrender of the human vessels. Captain Mitchell walked to a wall display that showed the approaching ships. 12 ships? Atlas, are our weapon systems operational? All systems are at full readiness, Captain. Shall I prepare for combat? Jake felt a chill run down his spine. Captain, those are Dominion battlecruisers. Each one is 3 times the size of our biggest ships. Their weapons can destroy planets. Captain Mitchell turned to face Jake. Commander, 200 years ago, humanity built this ship because we knew this day would come. The galaxy is about to learn that we were never as helpless as we appeared. More. Chambers were opening now. Men and women in ancient military uniforms were sitting up, asking questions, getting their bearings. They moved with the confidence of people who had never known defeat. Captain, Mitchell activated a ship-wide communication system. Attention crew of the USS Defiance. This is your captain. We have slept for 200 years, but our mission remains the same. Humanity's enemies approach, believing us weak and defenseless. Today, we remind the galaxy why they should have left us alone. Admiral Kekstar stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dominion, watching the scanner displays with growing irritation. 12 of the Empire's most powerful battlecruisers surrounded the asteroid field where the illegal human activity had been detected. Each ship carried enough firepower to level a small moon. Status report, Admiral Kekstar demanded. His voice carried the authority of someone who had conquered dozens of worlds for the Empire. Sir, we have confirmed the presence of one small human salvage vessel, his weapons officer reported. They appear to be investigating something within the asteroid cluster. They have ignored our surrender demands. Admiral Kekstar's 4 eyes narrowed. The Dominion Empire had ruled the galaxy for 5 centuries. Every species they encountered had either submitted to their rule or been destroyed. Humans were supposed to be a contained species, limited to their small corner of space. These humans grow bold, Admiral Kekstar said. Perhaps they have forgotten their place in the galaxy. Prepare to destroy their vessel. Inside the asteroid field, Captain Mitchell stood on the bridge of the USS Defiance as his crew took their positions. The bridge was unlike anything Jake had ever seen. The walls were covered with displays showing information about space around them, enemy ship positions, and weapon systems that made no sense to him. Atlas, remove the camouflage plating, Captain Mitchell ordered calmly. Acknowledged, Captain. Revealing the ship now. Jake watched through the main view screen as the artificial asteroid shell began to split apart. Massive sections of fake rock fell away, revealing the true shape of the USS Defiance underneath. The ship was enormous, 3 kilometers of sleek, metal that seemed to bend light around its edges. Danny stared at his scanner readings. Commander, this is impossible. The energy readings from this ship are off the charts. It's like they have a small star for a power source. Amy's voice crackled over the radio from the scavenger's dream. Commander, the Dominion ships are reacting to something. Their weapons are powering up. On the Dominion flagship, alarms began blaring. Sir, massive energy spike detected in the asteroid field. The sensor operator called out. Something big is decloaking. Admiral Kekstar moved to the main display. What he saw made his blood run cold. A ship larger than his entire fleet was, emerging from what they had thought was empty space. The vessel's design was clearly human, but it incorporated technology that should not exist. Analysis. Admiral Kekstar barked. Sir, our computers cannot identify the ship type. The energy signature is unlike anything in our databases. The hull material appears to be absorbing our sensor beams. Admiral Kekstar had not reached his position. By showing fear, it matters not. 1 ship against 12. Open fire. Destroy that vessel immediately. The Dominion fleet unleashed hell. Plasma cannons that could melt mountains fired in perfect synchronization. Quantum torpedoes that could crack a planet's crust streaked through space. The combined firepower was enough to destroy a small fleet. On the Defiance Bridge, Captain Mitchell watched the incoming attack with calm interest. Atlas, defensive screens. Defensive matrix activated, Captain. Jake watched in amazement as a shimmering field appeared around the Defiance. The incoming weapons fire struck the field and simply vanished, as if it had never existed. The massive energy beams and explosive torpedoes disappeared into nothing. How is that possible? Jake asked. The defensive matrix folds space around the ship, Captain Mitchell explained. Enemy weapons pass through folded space and emerge somewhere else entirely. Usually an empty space far from here. Danny checked his instruments. The defensive system is only running at 15% power. We're not even trying hard. On the Dominion flagship, panic was beginning to set in. Sir, all weapons fire ineffective. Our most powerful weapons had no effect on their shields. Admiral Kekstar stared at the display. In 5 centuries of conquest, the Dominion had never encountered anything like this. Impossible. No species has defensive technology that advanced. Sir, the human vessel is powering weapons. Captain Mitchell turned to his weapons officer, Lieutenant Kate Palmer. She had been one of Dr. Crawford's best students before the long sleep. Lieutenant Palmer, target their weapons and engines only. Disable, do not destroy. Understood, Captain. Dimensional lance charged and ready. Fire. Jake watched as a beam of pure energy lanced out from the Defiance. It moved faster than light, crossing the distance to the Dominion ships instantly. The beam passed through the shields of 3 battlecruisers as if they were not there then. Systematically disabled their weapons and engines with surgical precision. The 3 ships went dark, drifting helplessly in space. Their crews were unharmed, but their vessels were completely powerless. Admiral Kekstar felt terror for the first time in his life. What kind of weapon was that? How did it pass through our shields? Sir, our sensors cannot detect how their weapons function. The energy beam operated on principles our science does not understand. The communications officer looked up from his station. Sir, we're receiving panicked reports from the disabled ships. Their crews are alive, but all their systems are offline. They say the weapon passed through their shields like they were not there. Admiral Kekstar realized he was facing something beyond his understanding. The humans had been hiding technology. That made the Empire's most advanced weapons look like primitive tools. Captain Mitchell opened a communication channel to the Dominion fleet. His voice carried across space with calm authority. Admiral Kekstar of the Dominion Third Fleet, you have violated human space and threatened human lives. You have seen a demonstration of our defensive and offensive capabilities. You have one choice. Admiral Kekstar's voice shook as he replied. What choice? Leave now and report to your superiors that humanity is no longer the weak species you believed us to be. Or continue this confrontation and discover that we have been very patient with galactic bullies for far too long. Jake watched the scanner displays as the Dominion ships held their positions. Admiral Kekstar was clearly struggling with a decision no Dominion commander had ever faced before. Sir, the Dominion communications officer whispered, I'm detecting emergency transmissions on all frequencies. Word of this encounter is spreading across the galaxy. Admiral Kekstar closed his eyes. The news would reach every alien government. Within hours, the carefully maintained balance of power that had kept the Dominion in control for centuries was crumbling. Captain Mitchell waited patiently for the Admiral's decision. Around him, his crew monitored their systems with the confidence of people who had always known this day would come. Amy's voice came over Jake's radio. "Commander, I'm picking up transmissions from dozens of worlds. Everyone wants to know about the human ship that just disabled 3 Dominion battlecruisers." Jake realized they had just changed the course of galactic history. The demonstration of the Defiance's power would trigger reactions across the galaxy. Every government would want to know how humanity had hidden such advanced technology. Captain Mitchell smiled grimly. The galaxy is about to learn that humanity has been playing a very long game. The emergency council chamber on Nexus Prime had never seen anything like this. Representatives from 12 major alien civilizations sat around the massive circular table, all united by one emotion: fear. The holographic display in the center showed footage of the human warship disabling 3 Dominion battlecruisers with a single shot. Supreme Commander Zethka of the Hive Collective clicked her mandibles nervously. Her insect-like features showed the strain of the past 3 days. "The weapon passes through our strongest shields as if they do not exist. Our scientists cannot explain how this is possible." The crystal being known as Prism Lord Veltar pulsed with anxious light. "My analysis teams have studied the energy readings. The humans are using technology that violates known physics. They can fold space itself." Admiral Vexhall of the Dominion Empire stood at the head of the table. His proud species had ruled the galaxy for 5 centuries, but now his voice carried uncertainty. The human ship appeared from nowhere and vanished just as quickly. Our tracking systems lost it completely. It could be anywhere in the galaxy. Fleet Commander Nix of the Void Syndicate spoke in her electronic voice. "The energy beings of my collective are terrified. They sense something in human technology that threatens the very fabric of space. We must act before they deploy more of these vessels." Back in human space, Jake Harrison sat in the command center of Earth's Orbital Defense Station. Admiral Beth Connor, head of the Terran Defense Force, paced back and forth as she read his report for the 3rd time. The woman who had commanded humanity's retreat for decades was struggling to accept what she was hearing. "You're telling me that we've had ships like the Defiance hidden for 200 years? Admiral Connor asked. "According to Captain Mitchell, yes." "Ma'am," Jake replied. "Dr. Helen Crawford designed an entire defense system. The Defiance was just the prototype." Admiral Connor stopped pacing. "Where is Captain Mitchell now?" "He's conducting operations in the outer sectors. Every day, more. Dominion outposts go dark. He's proving to the galaxy that humanity can strike anywhere, anytime." Meanwhile, in a remote star system, the USS Defiance materialized out of folded space next to a Dominion supply depot. The massive station had been built to support Empire expansion in the region. Its shields and weapons were considered the best. Available technology. Captain Mitchell stood on his bridge, watching the enemy station on the main screen. "Lieutenant Palmer, disable their communications first. We don't want them calling for help." "Aye, Captain." "Targeting their communication array." The dimensional lance fired with precise control. The beam passed through the station's shields and destroyed only the communication equipment, leaving everything else untouched. The station's crew found themselves completely cut off from the outside galaxy. Danny Brooks, who had become an unofficial member of the Defiance crew, monitored the Defiance crew operation from his position. "Captain, I'm detecting 47 life signs aboard the station. No weapons are targeting us." "As expected," Captain Mitchell replied. "ATLAS, transmit our message." The artificial intelligence broadcast on all frequencies. "Attention, Dominion. Personnel, this is the USS Defiance. Your station is now under human control. You will not be harmed if you comply with our instructions. Prepare to abandon your facility. On the station, Commander Velkov stared at his screens in disbelief. The human ship had appeared without warning and disabled their defenses in seconds. His crew was looking to him for orders, but he had no idea what to do. "Sir, our shields are still up, but their weapon passed right through them," his weapons officer reported. "None of our systems can target their ship. It's like they exist in a different dimension." Commander Velkov had heard the stories spreading across the galaxy. Human ships that could appear anywhere. Weapons that ignored all defenses. Technology. That made the Empire's best equipment look primitive. He made the only logical choice. Prepare to evacuate. Send all personnel to the escape pods. Back on Earth, Amy Foster worked at her communication station in the Defense Center. She had been monitoring alien transmissions for days, watching the galaxy's reaction to humanity's revealed capabilities. "Admiral Connor, you need to hear this," Amy called out. "I'm intercepting communications from the Galactic Council. They're forming a combined fleet." Admiral Connor rushed to Amy's station. "How big?" "Over 3,000 ships from all major civilizations. It's the largest military force in galactic history. They're calling it the Final Solution Fleet." Jake felt his blood run cold. They're going to try to destroy humanity completely. Admiral Connor activated the emergency communication system. "Get me Captain Mitchell immediately." The holographic display flickered to life, showing Captain Mitchell on the bridge of the Defiance. Behind him, Jake could see the crew working at their stations with calm efficiency. "Admiral Connor, I assume you've heard about the Galactic Alliance," Captain Mitchell said. "Captain, they're sending 3,000 ships against us. Even with the Defiance, we can't fight the entire galaxy." Captain Mitchell smiled. "Admiral, it's time you learned the full scope of Dr. Crawford's plan. Atlas, activate Protocol 7. The ship's artificial intelligence responded immediately. Protocol 7 activated, sending activation codes to all dormant facilities. On the main display, a map of the galaxy appeared. Suddenly, dozens of points began lighting up across the star map. Each point represented a hidden facility that had been waiting for 200 years. "What am I looking at?" Admiral Connor asked. "Automated shipyards, Admiral. For 2 centuries, they've been slowly building a fleet using resources from asteroids and dead worlds. The Defiance was never meant to fight alone." Jake watched in amazement as the display showed ship after ship coming online. The vessels were emerging from hiding places throughout the galaxy, each one incorporating the same impossible technology as the Defiance. Danny was studying the technical readouts. "Admiral, I count 200 ships total. Each one is as advanced as the Defiance." "Captain." Mitchell's expression grew serious. "The Galactic Alliance wanted to ensure humanity's destruction. Instead, they've triggered the very thing Dr. Crawford designed this system to prevent. Total war." Amy looked up from her communication station. "I'm detecting massive energy signatures throughout the galaxy. Ships are appearing in every major star system. The alien governments are panicking." Admiral Connor stared at the display showing humanity's hidden fleet. "Captain, what are your orders?" "We're not conquerors, Admiral. We're liberators. The age of galactic empires is about to end, but not through destruction. Through demonstration." On Nexus Prime, alarms blared throughout the council chamber. Admiral Vexal received report after report of human ships appearing throughout Dominion space. Each ship demonstrated the same impossible capabilities as the original vessel. "Sir, they're not attacking population centers," his aide reported. "They're systematically disabling our military installations and freeing occupied worlds." Supreme Commander Zethges compound eyes showed terror. They're dismantling our entire power structure. Species that have been enslaved for centuries are declaring independence. Fleet Commander Nix's electronic voice carried despair. Our combined fleet cannot fight enemies that can appear anywhere without warning. We need to negotiate. Admiral Vexal looked around the chamber at the representatives of the galaxy's most powerful civilizations. For the first time in centuries, they were not the ones making demands. "Send a message to the humans," Admiral Vexal said quietly. "Tell them we want to talk." Captain Mitchell received the transmission while the Defiance orbited a newly liberated world. Former slaves were broadcasting messages of gratitude across all frequencies. "Admiral Connor, the galaxy wants to negotiate," Captain Mitchell reported. "Dr. Crawford's plan is working perfectly. Sometimes the best way to win a war is to prove you don't need to fight it." The combined galactic fleet arrived at the edge of the Sol system, expecting to find a desperate humanity hiding behind their homeworld. Instead, Fleet Admiral Vexal found himself facing the impossible sight of 200 human warships arranged in perfect battle formation around Earth. Each ship was identical to the original Defiance, their hulls gleaming with the same strange metal that seemed to bend light around it. The energy readings from the human fleet made Vexal's instruments scream warnings that he chose to ignore. "Sir, our sensors confirm 200 vessels," his tactical officer reported with a shaking voice. "Each one shows the same impossible energy signature as the ship that disabled our forces in the Kepler sector." Vexal stared at the main display. His Alliance fleet consisted of 3,000 ships from every major civilization in the galaxy. It was the largest military force ever assembled. Yet looking at the human formation, he felt like he was bringing knives to fight against gods. "Sir, incoming." "Transmission from the human fleet," his communications officer announced. "Put it through." The holographic display flickered to life, showing a human woman in military uniform, standing on a bridge that looked like something from the future. Admiral Beth Connor looked directly at Vexal with calm confidence. "Fleet Admiral Vexal, I am Admiral Beth Connor of the Terran Defense Force. You have brought a war fleet to our home system. Explain your intentions." Vexal found his voice with difficulty. "Admiral Connor, your species has violated galactic law by developing forbidden weapons technology. We demand immediate surrender and dismantling of your war fleet." Admiral Connor smiled. "Admiral, you are in no position to make demands. However, humanity does not wish to destroy your fleets. We have a better proposal." Before Vexahol could respond, the human ships began to move. They didn't turn or accelerate like normal vessels. Instead, they simply appeared in new positions throughout his fleet formation. Within seconds, every Alliance ship found itself surrounded by human vessels. On the bridge of his flagship, Vexal watched his tactical display with growing horror. The humans had positioned themselves with surgical precision. Each Alliance ship was covered by multiple human vessels, but none of the human ships were in danger from friendly fire. "How did they move so fast?" Vexahol whispered. "Sir, they didn't move through space," his science officer replied. "They folded space itself. They can appear anywhere instantly." Jake Harrison stood on the bridge of the USS Defiance next to Captain Mitchell. Through the main view screen, he could see alien ships in every direction. The largest military engagement in galactic history was about to begin, but something felt different about this battle. "Captain, why aren't we attacking?" Jake asked. "Because destruction was never the goal," Captain Mitchell replied. "Atlas, begin the demonstration." Every human ship in the fleet fired simultaneously. The dimensional lance weapons reached out across space, but instead of destroying the alien vessels, they did something completely unexpected. The weapons passed through the shields and armor of every Alliance ship and installed something inside. Their systems. Danny Brooks monitored the operation from his station. Captain, the installations are complete. Every alien ship now has our defensive technology integrated into their systems. Admiral Connor opened a communication channel to the entire Alliance fleet. Fleet Admiral Vexol, your ships now possess the same defensive capabilities as our vessels. Your shields can now stop any weapon in the galaxy, including ours. Vexol stared at his displays in confusion. What have you done to our ships? We have given you a gift, Admiral Connor replied. Your vessels are now immune to our weapons and to any other advanced technology in the galaxy. But this gift comes with conditions. Captain Mitchell stepped forward on the communication channel. Dr. Helen Crawford designed this technology 200 years ago with a specific purpose. Not to conquer the galaxy, but to create a balance of power that would make conquest impossible. Amy Foster, now serving as communications coordinator for the Shrill. Human fleet broadcast a message on all frequencies throughout the galaxy. Attention all civilizations. Humanity offers the same defensive technology to every species in the galaxy. No more empires. No more conquered worlds. Every species will have the technology to defend itself. On his flagship, Vexol received reports from his fleet. Sir, our defensive systems are showing impossible energy readings. According to these displays, our shields could now stop a supernova. The catch, Admiral Connor continued, is that this technology cannot be used for aggression. It only works for defense. Any species that tries to use it to attack others will find their systems shut down automatically. Supreme Commander Zethka of the Hive Collective contacted Vexol from her ship. Admiral, my science teams confirm the human claims. We now possess defensive technology beyond our greatest dreams, but it cannot be weaponized. Fleet Commander Nix's electronic voice carried wonder. The energy beings of my collective sense no deception. The humans have given us the power to be truly free. Captain Mitchell addressed the Alliance fleet directly. For 500 years, the Dominion Empire has ruled through superior technology and overwhelming force. Today, that age ends. Every species in the galaxy now has access to defenses that cannot be overcome. Jake watched as ship after ship in the Alliance fleet powered down their weapons. The largest military force in galactic history was surrendering without firing a shot. Admiral Vexahol, Admiral Connor said, the Dominion Empire is dissolved. Your member species are free to govern themselves. Humanity guarantees their independence with our technology. Throughout the galaxy, species that had been enslaved for generations received the same defensive technology. The Zephyrian Republic declared independence from the Dominion. The Crystal Worlds formed their own confederation. Dozens of civilizations that had lived in fear for centuries suddenly found themselves free. Lisa Martinez, now serving as humanity's first galactic ambassador, transmitted a message to every world in the galaxy. The age of empires is over. The age of freedom begins now. Danny worked at his station, coordinating the massive technology transfer. Admiral, we're receiving requests for defensive systems from over 500 species. Word is spreading faster than we can respond. Jake looked around the bridge of the Defiance. The ship that had started as a salvage discovery had become the instrument of galactic liberation. Captain, what happens now? Captain Mitchell smiled. Now we go home, Commander Harrison. Our job is done. The galaxy no longer needs protectors or conquerors. Every species can defend itself. Admiral Vexol's voice came over the communication. Channel one final time. Admiral Connor, why? You could have conquered us all. Your technology makes you gods. Admiral Connor's response echoed across space to every ship in both fleets. Admiral, Dr. Crawford understood something that empires never learn. True strength isn't the power to destroy your enemies. True strength is the power to make enemies unnecessary. The human fleet began to withdraw, their ships folding space around them as they departed. Within minutes, only empty space remained, where humanity's most advanced warships had demonstrated their power. Amy broadcast one final message on all frequencies. To every species in the galaxy, humanity has returned not as conquerors, but as liberators. We give you the tools to be free. Use them wisely. Jake Harrison returned to his salvage ship, but his life had changed forever. The man who had accidentally discovered humanity's greatest secret became the first human to serve on the new Galactic Council of Free Worlds. The USS Defiance returned to Earth, its mission complete. The forgotten prototype warship had indeed ended the Galactic Empire, not through destruction, but through the most human response possible, giving everyone else the power to defend themselves. In the end, humanity's greatest weapon had not been superior technology, but superior wisdom.